Hi, welcome back to My Story Time with Nana. Remember the last time they went on a pirate's treasure hunt? Now we're going to find out what are they going to do with all their treasure. I can't wait. Let's begin. The crafting of sweet dreams. The pirates' treasure hunt was a huge success. Each child had a chance to hold the map. Everyone found a prize. They couldn't stop talking about it on the way back to Grandma and Granddad's cabin. And now there was going to be another surprise. Grandma, Grandma, yelled Emma, running up the driveway, holding up her satchel. We found so many things. All the children began running up the driveway, holding their satchels, yelling, Arg! Like pirates. Grandma, Mrs. Crabapple, and Miss Kingston and the Edmonds were all sitting in chairs around the baby pool watching baby Brennan and baby Maddie play in the water. They turned to see the children running up the driveway towards them. They looked just like pirates with their eye patches and bandanas on their head and the parrots on their shoulders. Mama and Papa, called out Ethan, I found the gold. I had number 11, and I found the pirate's treasure. Wait till you see what else we found. Ethan began emptying his satchel in front of his grandparents. Della and Lola ran to their mother. Mommy, Mommy, I found hoops and Lola found paint. It was so much fun, said Lola. Everybody found a prize, and there was enough for everyone to share. Well, it sounds like you had a great time, said Mrs. Crabapple. Mommy, Mommy, yelled out Grayson. We found so many treasures. Look at all my stuff, said Chase, dumping the contents of his satchel. What are you going to do with all of that? His mother asked. I don't know, said Chase, but it sure was fun finding it all. The children are all talking at once, trying to tell their mothers and grandparents about the treasure hunt. All their treasures lay in heaps around the baby pool. We also found a friend, yelled Tony over all the children. We met Kat at the playground, and Granddad said she could come over to play. Well, hello, Kat, said Grandma. Pleased to meet you. Will you stay? I have a craft for all the children. Oh, well, thank you. That sounds very nice, said Kat. So, you don't know what all of these items have in common, Grandma turned and asked the children. No, they all answered. Well, I'm going to show you, and when you see the finished product, you are going to be so surprised, she told them. I don't have anything. I didn't go on the treasure hunt, said Kat. Oh, that's okay, dear, Grandma told her. You wait here. I have more supplies in the cabin. Thank you, Mrs. Faison. You're welcome, she answered, climbing the steps to the back porch. A few minutes later, she came out with a plastic container filled with all kinds of crafting items. Grandma opened the container and pulled out a hoop, some string, beads, and feathers, and a small bottle of paint, and set it all aside for Kat. Wow, the children called out. What is all this going to make? Well, you're going to make your very own dream catchers, Grandma told them. What? What's a dream catcher? Asked Kat. A dream catcher catches all the bad dreams in its webbing, and it allows the good dreams to flow down to the sleeping children, Granddad explained. It will make sense when you see it finished. First, you need your hoop and your string, Grandma told them. I'm going to show you how to make web inside of the circle. That's what catches all of the dreams. Grandma showed the children how to wrap the string around the hoop, making knots in certain places so that it looked like a spider web. Mrs. Crabapple, Mrs. Kingston, and Mr. and Mrs. Edmund helped the children too. Each of the dream catchers looked different because of the way everyone made their own web. Look at mine, a child would call out, so proud of their handiwork. Okay, children, Grandma called out, it's time to get your paint. I have sponges, and we're going to paint just the edges of your hoop. Grandma laid newspaper on the ground and instructed the children to pick a spot for their hoops with the webbing. She squirted paint into little bowls and gave each child a small sponge. Now dip your sponge into whatever color you like and tap it along the edge of your hoop. I'm going to use the purple with the glitter, said Emma, dipping her sponge. Me too, said Kat. I love sparkly purple. I want dark blue, said Chase. Well, I'm going to pick the light blue then, said Grayson. This way, we'll have blue on both of our dream catchers in our bedroom. Well, I love yellow, Emily declared, dipping her sponge. Pink is my favorite color. In went Claire's sponge, and this pink is sparkly too. I'm going to paint mine black like the night, said Tony, plunging his sponge into the black paint. I like the red paint, said Lachlan. I think it will look really cool. Lachlan, I'm going to use the gray paint, Ethan told his brother. I think it will look really cool next to the red in your dream catcher. Della, let's use the lavender and the green, said Lola. Together? Or do you want to use the green and I'll use the lavender? Asked Della. I'll use the green, Lola told her, and you can use the lavender. The children patted their sponges, dipping in their favorite colors onto their hoops. It was fun watching their dream catchers come all together. Now, while we wait for the hoops to dry, we're going to make up the strings with the beads and the feathers, Grandma told the children. She cut pieces of string and handed each child 3. The children began to tie beads and feathers onto the lines of their strings. Now, once we tie the strings onto your hoops, you're going to see how the good dreams are going to flow down off the feathers into your sleep, so you will only have sweet dreams. When the hoops were dry, the adults helped the children tie the strings to the dream catchers, and the children were so happy with their projects, they went running around with them. I can't wait to hang mine in my bedroom, Grandma, said Emma, and all of the children agreed. I don't know about you, said Granddad, but I'm getting hungry after all that searching for treasure and making dream catchers. How about some hot dogs and hamburgers? Yay! Yelled out all of the children. Granddad and Mr. Edmund began putting the fire pit together to cook the hamburgers and hot dogs, and Grandma went inside to get together plates and cups and condiments. Mrs. Kingston, Mrs. Edmund, and Mrs. Crabapple went to their cabins to get some sides for the barbecue. Mrs. Kingston came back with another woman. It was Kat's mother. She had Kat's baby brother and sister in a stroller. Mrs. Mason, she called into the door. I brought company. Hello. My name is Mrs. Reyes, she said to Grandma. This is Mateo and his twin sister, Laura Leah. Oh, what beautiful babies, she said, snuggling down into them. Pleased to meet you. Your daughter Kat has been delightful. She's up in the treehouse playing. I hope you don't mind. We invited her to stay for dinner. Oh my, that's awfully nice of you. Thank you. Well, you're more than welcome to stay as well, Grandma told her. Well then, please allow me to bring something, Mrs. Reyes said. No, it's not necessary. But thank you. No, thank you. I'll be back shortly, she said. Once everyone was back and Granddad's fire was ready, he put burgers and hot dogs on the grate over the fire. Mrs. Reyes brought corn on the cob and had it wrapped in foil. Granddad put those on the grate as well. Grandma and the children set the table and chairs out with paper plates and cups and set Mrs. Edmund's pasta salad in the middle. It was sitting next to Mrs. Kingston's macaroni and cheese. I brought dessert, said Mrs. Crabapple, holding up a bag of marshmallows. S'mores! Yay! The children all cried out, and so did Granddad, because Granddad loved s'mores. The family sat together and enjoyed their meal, the adults getting to know one another and the children chatting away about their great adventure. It was the perfect end to a great day, made even greater when they got to make their own s'mores. That night, as Grandma read Tony and Emma their bedtime story, Granddad hung their handmade dream catchers. He kissed the children good night just as Grandma was finishing up her story and went downstairs to wait for Grandma. "Oh, Grandma, I really miss my daddy," she said. "You know, I love being here, but I'm sad because it's going to be Father's Day and we won't be together. And I heard all of the adults talking about the party and it's just made me sad." And Grandma brushed away her hair from her eyes. And she said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Emma dear. I imagine that it does make you feel sad," Grandma told her. "I have an idea, though. You close your eyes and have sweet dreams, and you will now that you have all these dream catchers in here. And tomorrow we will come up with a plan to get your daddy here in time for Father's Day." "Thank you," Grandma said, hugging her grandmother tight. "I love you so much." "And I love you, Emma," Grandma told her. "Hey, I love you too," said Tony. "And I love you, Tony," Grandma said, kissing his forehead. "Sweet dreams, my loves," she said as she headed down the stairs. So they had this really great time, but in the end, Emma started feeling sad because she was missing her daddy. I wonder what is going to happen next week. What does Grandma have planned to get Daddy there in time for Father's Day? I don't know. I'm very excited. I can't wait. Thank you so much for listening in. Share my stories. I want every child to hear them. Thank you. Thank you. Mwah.